何をすれば
一瞬で潰してあげる。さあ、君たちに勝利を授けよう。始末してやろう。
もっと大きい攻撃が来るよ。避けて。何をまだ足りない。
さて、動くか。全員蹴散らしてやる。始末してやろう。始末してやろう。
艦長、何をまだ
全員戦列を整えろ。
立ってよ。立ってよ。戦うまだ足りない。
見せてやろう。我々ホワイトアルカイブの真の力を。
何すればいいんだ。効率系。
始末してやろう。さあ、君たちに勝利を授けよう。
Hi there! According to the recent dev announcement, 9 is going to be an Order Vanguard who, quote, excels at efficiently generating shields for allies while dealing powerful defense-based damage to enemies. She has also been designed to have great synergy with Narja, end quote. Isn't that interesting? Even without knowing 9's kit, we have a good idea of how Narja synergizes with Vanguard characters. She has two abilities that boost defense-based damage specifically, aside from her generic damage amplification via veracity and predation. In this video, I want to essentially give a sneak preview of that synergy using Khalipe and Magna. From the sound of it, I'd expect 9 to be more similar to Khalipe, but I'm including Magna in the lineup to give the full picture of her Vanguard synergy. The core cards of Narja's Vanguard support build are Bottomless Hunger and Domain of Veracity. Bottomless Hunger boosts defense-based damage multipliers additively by 100% for a single turn, irrespective of whether the damage comes from active or passive sources. This includes Khalipe's Silver Veil and Magna's counterattacks. Having multiple copies of Bottomless Hunger makes the effect more reliable, but if used within the same turn, you're only stacking the duration, not the damage bonus. This epiphany of Domain of Veracity applies a debuff to targets lasting for 2 turns, again increasing defense-based damage by 100%. This is a vulnerability rather than a damage bonus, but they function just the same. Voluntary Control has the wrong epiphany for this lineup. If I had the choice, I'd have picked this one that just restores Veracity or Predation, depending on the stack count. Shackles of Hunger can be tagged more defensively into shield generation instead of a multi-hit attack, but I'm not a big fan of that. You're sacrificing Veracity and Narja's own damage, both of which are likely more valuable than more shielding. Shields can be useful for someone like Magna to generate counter-attack stacks, but that's not really her issue. Rather, the enemy's attack frequency is the main concern. If you want Narja to be even more aggressive, you can even choose this epiphany for Shackles of Hunger. It sacrifices Veracity for damage, so whether that works well with 9 depends on how quickly she burns through the stacks. Please ignore this weird neutral card that I got through conversion and later removed from the deck. Because I went 10 points over the save data limit, I got it back at the end of the run. Khalipe's deck is damage focused. The epiphanies for Vulture Ejection and Greatsword of Aquila have increased multipliers and generate Silver Veil. Silver Veil stacks are most important when building Khalipe for damage. I would have preferred the version of Rally with the Celestial tag, but at least it also generates Silver Veil. She's using the 4-star Wilhelmina at level 50 in this showcase. Magna uses a 4-star Rachel, also at level 50. Her deck includes 2 Iron Walls for a steady stream of counter-attack stacks and nothing fancy otherwise. If you're consistently facing multiple opponents, it's better to have the upgrade variant of Ice Wall, but this is good enough for a showcase of a fully defense-based lineup, so let us not be concerned with trivial details. I took this lineup all the way up to floor 75 of the new tower mode. The tower stages currently boost defense-based damage by 100%, so that's the best environment to try this team. Just keep in mind that your damage numbers will differ elsewhere. Narja's role in this setup is less about the generation of Veracity and Predation stacks, but more about the uptime of her defense-based amplification. This may be different if 9 has multi-hit attacks in her kit, but Khalipe and Magna have only a few hard-hitting abilities. Besides, counter-attacks don't consume Veracity at all. Here, you see that Silver Veil has a multiplier of 840% and counter-attacks of 240%. After using Bottomless Hunger, both are increased by 100%. Then, Domain of Veracity applies a vulnerability debuff for another 100%, now boosting Silver Veil to 1040% and counterattacks to 440% or 540% if fully blocked. As you can see, taking care of such multi-target waves is no issue at all for this highly AoE focused lineup. It gets a bit slower at higher tower floors where you're often only facing a single opponent, but that's not the point of the showcase. On this wave, Magna clears the targets with her AoE counters. There aren't many opportunities for her to shine like this. Since counter-attacks can't crit, they just don't scale well enough against tankier opponents, especially when they don't deal enough instances of damage. Khalipe cleans up what is left once she has her cards in hand. The tower stage bonus plus a stack of vulnerabilities skyrockets her multipliers, here almost 1400% just on the greatsword. 9 certainly has some competition if she wants to impress, though I guess ideally, I'd like to run them both in this setup. That's pretty much it for this team's gameplay loop. Apply Narja's vulnerability debuff, buff defense-based damage, crush the enemy. Since Khalipe doesn't have multi-hit attacks and Magna mostly deals damage passively, you don't really struggle for veracity stacks in this setup. This might well differ with 9, depending on her kit. After having played through these stages though, I realize that I would prefer a second copy of Domain of Veracity to improve the uptime of the vulnerability debuff. Or perhaps a neutral card like Attack that lets me grab the card from the draw pile. We'll be farming new decks once the second season launches, hopefully with less RNG, allowing us to design our builds more deliberately and not just by chance. When it comes to the Vanguard role as a whole, I'm very satisfied with Khalipe's performance, but Magna and the counterattack mechanic more broadly need to be revisited by the developers. Since counterattacks can't crit and are unaffected by extra attack buffs, they really struggle to make up for their slow playstyle. When opponents like this only attack every other round and don't use multi-hit attacks, Magna's just sitting there twiddling her thumbs. You can throw out her ultimate once stacked, getting to a decent 1700% multiplier on this stage, but that's less impressive when compared to the potential Narja offers. In fact, her 4-hit attack can reach a total multiplier of about 2000% due to Veracity, Predation and the 200% defense-based additive bonuses. That demonstrates the potential for multi-hit attacks in this setup. While Khalipe's synergy with Narja also appears limited due to her kit revolving around single hits with high multipliers, the Celestial Tag and Silver Whale somewhat make up for it. Often enough, you only need to play a single high cost card to set off a barrage of attacks, potentially allowing you to fire off 3 to 4 nukes in one go. I expect 9 to be a more aggressive type of Vanguard like Khalipe, perhaps with more multi-hit attacks to synergize with Narja. Shielding is good and all, but ever since Serennial we know that offense is the best defense. I also feel that shields don't scale well enough to protect against the extremely hard-hitting attacks of the later tower stages. At this point, there are already opponents who shave off well above 1000 HP with their attacks, and more stages are to come. Without additional damage reduction from someone like Amir, it doesn't seem like a sound strategy to turtle and tank hits for several rounds. But let me know what you think of our current Vanguards and how you feel about 9 joining that roster. Does that make you more or less interested in obtaining her? Personally, I'm just glad for anything that's not a conventional DPS character to give us a bit more team building variety. In any case, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.